going to be discussing my top surfing spots in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Of course, you have to drive quite a ways, at least a couple hours, in order to get to the beach and surf. Unfortunately, DC is pretty landlocked, so slim pickings out there. So I bet many people who don't live in DC probably like, why would you live there if you surf? But there's pretty good jobs here, or at least there were. Thanks, Elon Musk. RIP to my job. A lot of people come here after college or after getting out of the military and they get a job with the government or something affiliated with the government. I originally came from Hawaii, where I was stationed with the Army, to Maryland, and then eventually down to Virginia. I had started surfing in Hawaii and I decided that I was going to keep surfing no matter how cold it was. I bought a winter wetsuit, 5mm wetsuit, and kept surfing in Maryland. And I discovered some spots up there that were kind of cool. And then when I came down to Virginia, I discovered some more. The first surfing spot that comes to mind near DC is Assateague Island. It's about a 2.5, 3-hour drive, if traffic's okay, from DC. So Assateague Island is an island off of Maryland. It's actually a national seashore. It's on what's called Maryland's eastern shore. Waves there are kind of crumbly and not so great. There's a lot of waves and you can just drive further down on the island through the park and find more spots. Further down the road you drive there, you can just, there's more parking. And it's kind of beautiful for Maryland, you know, there's like some trees and stuff. But its major highlight is the wild ponies that live there. They are quite mean, so be careful. I've seen people get chased by them when I was putting up my surfboard, and one time I had to crawl on top of my Jeep because this pony was coming at me when it was dark, and it was, I don't know, they bite. They're not nice. They're cute from a distance. I used to go to Assateague Island when I was stationed in Maryland, and especially when I was having like a really hard time and I was stressed or I was down, it was just nice to drive out there and just go for a few hours and come back, and it was just nice to swim in the water. And it's nature, a little more secluded, especially in the off season. It was just nice to go there. There's some hiking trails. They do have camping if you're interested in camping and surfing. They don't require reservations between, I think it's November 1st and April 1st. And they also have backcountry camping there as well. So if you want to do a little surf and stay, that is the place to go. Honorable mention, or not so honorable mention, there also is Ocean City, just north of Assateague. I do not like surfing there. I've surfed there a few times with a friend, and Ocean City is just like hepatitis. And the surfing, like, I don't know, it's not that great and it's crowded. So the second place that I like to go on the East Coast is Delaware's Indian River Inlet. So there's a little jetty, rock jetty, that gets some little waves and everything, sometimes bigger waves. But as a beginner, this was a really nice spot to go and just, you know, relax. There's pretty good parking. Of course, in the summer, it's crazy, but in the off season, it's pretty nice. And it's a really nice drive from DC. It's about 2 hours, 45 minutes to 3 hours to get from DC to Indian River Inlet. It's right by Bethany Beach. Yeah, you drive through farmland and that kind of thing, see a bunch of barns, and I don't know, it's more interesting than driving on the freeway. So the waves there though, I can check on them through the DOT cam. I'll link it down below, but it's like the Delaware DOT cam. But the waves, I don't know, sometimes they're quite big there and then they'll like break on shore. People in Delaware seem to love surfing there, and yeah, they've got some cool little waves, sometimes just rolling up next to the jetty. My favorite surf spot on the East Coast, hands down, is Virginia Beach. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Virginia Beach sucks. And yeah, I mean, we take what we can get on the East Coast, okay? This isn't Florida or California or Hawaii. I absolutely prefer Virginia Beach over anywhere else in this area because they have really nice beach cams. They have one at First Street Jetty, which is the most popular spot to surf in Virginia Beach. It's right next to a jetty, as you can imagine, and the waves will go down the coast. Like, you can surf, like if there's people crowded around the jetty, which there usually is, you can just go further down and catch your own waves. There are some waves next to the pier. However, I don't surf next to piers because people don't chum off the piers when they fish, and so a lot of sharks hang out right there. So no thanks. But yeah, a lot of places to surf right there. And then a few years back, I discovered Croatan Beach. It's right next to a military base. Tons of military bases in Virginia Beach, but it's right next to that. And in the off season, it's not crowded. Croatan Beach is not dug out like Virginia Beach, like First Street Jetty is. I feel like there's a big scoop because during the summer, they'll try to push more sand onto the beach. Croatan is not maintained like that I can tell at least. It's nice and flat. You can wade out a ways and catch little waves. I prefer to catch waves that way, like small little waves, because I can conserve my energy and not get taken down by, you know, current and stuff like that. I'm not fighting the current or anything like that. Yeah, Croatan's my favorite. They also have beach cams there. They have several beach cams. If you're in the military, you can access Dam Neck, or if you're a veteran, you can access Dam Neck, which is the beach. It's a beach further down. I've surfed there one time when I was still in the Army Reserves, and it was okay. Free parking, of course. So. Virginia Beach also has lots of places to stay, and they've got some campgrounds in the area. And then the hotels in the off season are usually not bad at all. Like I've stayed at a beach hotel for like $75 a night in the winter. So that's basically about it for the DC area. Really wish we had a wave pool in DC. We really need one. I don't know why they keep like putting them right on the beach when we have the ocean right there. Like they should put it in the middle of nowhere. There are actually quite a few people in the DC area who surf. So I can tell by Facebook Marketplace, people are always selling surfboards around here. Lots of military in the DC area, of course, who have come from other places like Hawaii where they're surfing, just like I did. But as an honorable mention, if you want to go a little bit further than like say 3 hours, 3.5 hours, Outer Banks is about 4 hours away if you go to like the northern end of Outer Banks, beginning of Outer Banks, the northern end of Outer Banks. It's only 4 hours. You go further, it's, you know, 5-6 hours or more. Outer Banks has the best known surfing on the East Coast, better than even Florida, and it's beautiful there. It's just a little bit hard to access sometimes. If you go in the off season, it's not very crowded. I have been there in the off season and a little too rough to surf, so I boogie boarded. But yeah, it's a nice place to go. They also have campgrounds, of course, pretty booked up during the summer. But if that is an option for you, if you go a little bit farther than Virginia Beach. Oh, I forgot to mention about Virginia Beach. They just finished the wave pool there. It's several months late. They just finished it a couple days ago. I don't know when I'm posting this video, but it is August 14th today, 13th, but they just finished it like earlier this week. It's very exciting. You can book a session there. I'm gonna try it out, but it's like 2 blocks from the ocean. Like why did they build it there? Anyway, it's called Atlantic Park Wave Garden. It's the only wave garden in North America. Okay, and another honorable mention, if you want to drive like 4 hours-ish, sometimes 4.5, there is a wave pool in northern New Jersey, right next to New York City. It's called Skudin Surf. It's inside the American Dream Mall. They've got that. Long Island is about 5 hours away. You could surf there. You could surf the Jersey Shore. I went to southern Jersey, to Seaside Heights. That's like south central Jersey, I guess. But that was a good 4.5 hour drive. I went in the winter, of course, but Jersey also gets, you know, pretty good waves. If you're into surfing, you probably have heard of Ben Gravy. He's Jersey's most famous surfer. Steve Hauser also has a New Jersey based surfing channel. If you want to check that out, I'll link them both below. The wave pool up in North Jersey too, they keep it about 70 degrees inside, and they have plenty of boards you can rent, so that is an option. Also from the East Coast, if you don't want to drive, you can also fly to Florida on a weekend. If you're into that, it's like a 2-hour flight, $200, $250. I've also found flights to certain Caribbean islands for like $200, $250, flights to El Salvador for $200-ish, and there's lots of surf resorts that will pick you up on a shuttle straight from the airport and take you to their resort. So, you know, if you're worried about safety, that is a good thing. But yeah, you can get a flight to like a bunch of different places around here if you want to go surf. Puerto Rico, one of our US territories, they have cheap tickets there too, like $250, sometimes $300. Great surfing there. It's on my bucket list to go to Puerto Rico and surf at some point. There's also, if you're into road tripping, you can, you know, go down to the Carolinas, maybe to Georgia. That is a full day of driving. It's like 10 hours. Or you can drive to Long Island, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. You can even drive all the way up to Maine. and hit up New Hampshire and all that stuff. New Hampshire does have like 10 miles of beach. That is also a long drive. I think it's like 13 hours from DC up into like Acadia National Park in Maine. But yeah, there's some different surfing up there for some good northeastern surfing, New England surfing and stuff like that. Lucas Hildreth is a doctor who's surfing after his shifts, and he does these little road trips and things like that. So I'll link his channel down below, but he always takes these little staycation trips and stuff. So that's it for my favorite spots around DC. Yeah, it's slim pickings, but you know, we do what we can. Thanks for watching. Until next time. For more surfing content, including warm and cold water surfing, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.